Yo, what up, guys? Isaac, welcome back to my channel. Let's do another little clip here about something cool that you might not have known about your BMW. And so, I'd like to talk today about the drive modes. Here they're showing 3 drive modes: Sport, Comfort, Eco Pro, and I just want to show you that there's more drive modes than appear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the start button and start the car, so we can have things going in real time here. Ooh, in 5,000 miles, service is due. We have our dinging there. So right now we're in Comfort, as you can see down there, and we're in Park. And down here you have Sport, Comfort, Eco Pro. So Sport basically puts the whole car in Sport. Comfort is what the car is in right now. Anytime you get in the car, about a half hour later, it usually puts me back in Comfort. But if I jump back in the car, and within 10 minutes, it'll leave me in whatever mode I left it in, even if it was in Sport. So if I press Sport, gauges turn red. Let's change this here. Make it a little more minimalistic. So it says Sport up there. And if I press Sport again, right where it says Sport up here, you'll see now it'll say Sport Plus. And also on the screen here, it'll say Sport Plus. So, what's the difference? Comfort, we all know what that is, normal mode. Sport will do the whole car, where it'll have the car be more sporty. It'll shift much more crisp, much more efficiently, depending on the angle of your right foot. And it'll do the steering wheel. Basically, this is a speed sensitive steering wheel here, M Sport steering wheel, which is tuned, it's variable. Your transmission, it'll do your transmission as well, which is right here. With your right foot, the transmission will basically change depending on where your right foot is at all times. It's much more intuitive than in Comfort. Comfort wants to, go through the gears slower, and it doesn't necessarily change as quick. And it also does your suspension just slightly. Your dampers seem a little tighter. Your all-wheel drive system is also rear-wheel biased more. So if I press Sport again, it puts us in Sport Plus. Sport Plus will have the engine stay up here. So Sport Plus does the transmission and the engine. But the suspension will be in Sport, and I believe the all-wheel drive as well. So Sport Plus is engine and transmission is Sport Plus, and tack will stay up here. So the car will be flexing, lots of tension. It's high revving. You're eating up gas. You just point and shoot, I call it. But there are many more sport modes than up here. So let's put us back in Comfort. Now we're back in regular Comfort. And if I put this car in drive, we're in drive. And if I slap this to the left, now there's a reason why there's M&S here. Now it's glowing green. Before it was in drive, M&S. And up here, I put the transmission in Sport. Sorry, I'm getting over a cold here. So it's only the transmission that's in Sport here, not the whole car. So if you want to pass someone really quick, you just want to slap this to the left and you gun it, and it should be just as intuitive as Sport, close to being as intuitive, not as crisp. It doesn't shift and bang through gears as quick as pressing the actual Sport button that does the whole car. This is nice when you want to pass semi-trucks really quick. And then if you touch it back or forth, of course, it'll put you back in manual. It'll put you in manual. Manual mode, you could go all the way up in gears, all the way up to 8 gears. And if you slam it to the right, it's back in drive. So the first stage of Sport is slamming this to the left, and it only does the transmission. The second stage of Sport is pressing the button, and you're in regular Sport, which does the whole car. The third stage of Sport is pressing the button again, and it puts you in Sport Plus. Okay. I know this is now getting pretty confusing. And then there's a fourth stage. There's a fourth stage. The fourth stage is when I press Sport again, it'll take us to Sport Individual, which is the next one past Sport Plus here. And if you could go to Configure, you could see my Individual, my steering wheel's in Sport, my engine's in Sport Plus, and my transmission's in Sport instead of Sport Plus. Remember, Sport Plus is just engine and transmission, and steering can only be comfort in Sport. So I like my Individual having the engine at Sport Plus because I like the early shifts. I don't want my tack up here when I'm driving, but I want the engine to be lively as it can be. I want the turbos to be basically spooling much more efficiently. That's what happens when you put the car's engine in Sport and Sport Plus. The turbos have stages, the timing as well. You could feel it on your right foot basically, which is different than this Sport. This Sport is a relaxed Sport. This is tension, and then this one I like when I don't want tension, but I want that Sport Plus engine, if that makes sense. Now, I'm sure you've noticed, when you have the gear lever to the left, like this, it'll never go back to regular drive, just to let you know. Even if you press Sport, it'll never go back to regular drive. But if you have it back in drive, and you click this paddle, see we're in drive up here, click the paddle, it puts you in manual. Now at some point, because you click the paddle and put us in manual, and this is at drive, at some point the car will put itself back in drive. If you have been driving leisurely, it'll put itself back in drive. Or you could hold this one and it puts you back to drive. Wow, there's so many stages, right? But if this gear lever is to the left, it'll stay in manual the whole time if you have it in manual. Okay? Now, there's another thing too. So I'll press Sport. I'm in Sport. Now the gear lever to the left. Now you're in Sport S1. Have you driven the M cars? The M cars have a drive logic button that is right here, which has lines on it. So S1 basically means sequential. It doesn't mean sport. It means sequential. So the gear lever shifts in a sequential pattern, kind of like a world rally champion, where you bang it forward and bang it backwards to shift, not necessarily searching for the gears. So S1 puts it in sequential. This takes it out of sequential, but you could still shift with this as if it's sequential when you're back in regular drive, but it'll put itself back to drive at some point, even if your sport mode is on. Let me know if you guys are confused on how I'm explaining this, because most people don't, they can't imagine it, and most people who buy these cars don't necessarily care anyways, but I kind of do. Anyways, thank you for watching.